So if there's anything you want to share, a story of yours, something you heard in a workshop, some inspire talk which inspired you, I would be happy to hear some. Thank you.
Do I have to stand? Or? Yeah, why not? Okay. I think today was really full of everything. It was really like mind-blowing. Like I was wondering what I was expecting of the day. And then I realized I didn't really expect anything. In the sense I was waiting to see how it would look like. And it was just so inspiring and so rich. And I think like one thing that really struck me is how much we don't really know how that's going to happen. Because the main question that Hanno asked this morning was that how do we make this transformation happen? And I think after all the enriching debate I've heard and that are kind of mind-blowing ideas that were discussed like throughout the whole day, no one knows. And I think it's, instead of taking that as I mean, it's quite like inspire fears that we don't really know how we're gonna like get out of that. But I think that we really have to own that. Like we don't know, and that's okay that we don't know. And we really have to acknowledge that the system or the systems that we've known so far are just like they're over, they don't work anymore. And we don't necessarily know what's next, but we really have to construct that all together. And I think that's one of the main things that I have in mind throughout the discussion that I've had today with different people, with everything that I've heard. And another thing possibly that I'm taking away with me is that what we really need to make that work is really to embrace revolution. And there was this one workshop that we were doing earlier today, and where we actually realized that, yeah, we're in civil society organizations, and then we're very much used to, you need to be disruptive, and you need to do things differently. And once you discuss that, you're already in the mindset of, you're already established. You're already, like, there's already a structure you know and you feel very comfortable in, and then you very much rely on this structure. And revolution is really like, forget not everything you know, but roughly everything you know. Like, stop thinking you know, and just embrace the fact that you don't know and start collaborating and start thinking differently. I think it's really about thinking out of the box and how it's difficult, but also how empowering it can be. And I will conclude on saying that we just have to be brave enough. And I was like what Hanno was saying this morning, that we need leaders to take ownership. We need them to embrace the fact that, yes, the world is changing and it would require us to think things completely differently, but we do need to be brave enough, and also us, as part of our different civil society organization, be brave enough to question everything we thought we knew.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Is it on? Yeah. Yeah. So I also really enjoyed the day, and especially the different formats and how they complemented each other, and thought we had really rich and inspiring discussions. And yeah, to give one concrete example, I attended the workshop of Lorena and Johannes on the future of the digital space in Europe. And it became clear that there were really different concepts about the public space or public sphere, and that these terms give a very big room for interpretation, but we were all convinced that they are crucial for the functioning of democracy, and that they fulfill very important aspects, such as holding those in power accountable, giving us transparency, providing us with information to form our opinions. And yeah, Johannes and Lorena asked us to come up with future visions on how to shape the digital public sphere. And we all agreed that we need transnational journalism, that we have to transform journalism into the public sphere because it fulfills a very crucial role. And also we hope for technological innovations such as in-ear simultaneous translation to make us understand each other across Europe, and had lots of concrete ideas. And yeah, it became very clear that there's not this one overall solution, but instead, yeah, very many people from very different backgrounds have to come up with ideas on how we can, yeah, improve the gears and switches that make our democracies work. And I think that's kind of representative for my insight from this day. Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you. Maxine, would you be so kind and carry the mic over there? Thank you.
Yeah, I had a wonderful day, heard loads of really exciting and inspiring things, but I'll just pick two of them. So in the session that I was running with colleagues, we were playing out the politics of economic transformation by asking groups to take on the roles of different actors in a fictional city that was trying to invest in innovation. And one of the takeaways from the session that a participant talked about was how easy it was to fall into a sense of us and them in those types of democratic processes. And even though we were just playing, people were already taking on a group identity and forming kind of in some ways antagonistic relationships with other groups. So that brought home to me the importance of the types of mechanisms that others have spoken about for bringing different groups together. And then one other talk that really struck me, a bit related to that, was the wonderful talk by Marta Pardavi about the work she does with the Hungarian Helsinki Committee and defending civil rights in Hungary in a really challenging context. And she talked about the need to cherish our democratic institutions you know, we actually quite privileged in most European countries that we do have democracies that, for the most part, kind of work. So we need to really value them at the same time as Hanno warned earlier, not just end up defending the status quo. So that was two things that stood out to me.
Thank you. Roman, wasn't it you? Yeah. Right.
So for me, the most important insight is that time has changed and that we can start not only design formats where we have a scientific-based approach of deliberation, but also create formats where we address the whole emotional body. Because we have to go somewhere with our fear and anger and fury and apathy, and to combine that so that we design more holistic approaches with ordinary citizens, not in only in our bubble, but with random selected people. And I will try that next year.
Thank you. And we have one last voice from Aaron here.
I want to share one small portion that I had. I had a great conversation with Barbara from Oregon, United States today, and we were talking about the digitalization and how it's important to always think of the freedom to opt out. Because we are in a progressing digitalization, but still the freedom of choice gives us the opportunity to also get provided by government service without the digital way. So this is one thing we wanted to have put into mind as well when thinking about the digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am happy to announce that Hanno and me decided to take some of that thoughts you just mentioned, some of the ideas developed today and the topic we gather for today to the next level from 2020 on. But I will explain more on that later and ask Hanno first what your insights are. What do you take home from today's Innocracy? And maybe you can share something about Innocracy 2020.
Yeah, obviously I'm really biased, so I'm not going to tell you how great it was, even though it was really great. Yeah, but I think we heard 5 voices which show that there are just different impressions, different learnings, and I think we can leave it at that. I would like to talk a little bit about how we would like to develop Innocracy as a format, as an idea, because it would be weird to do a conference on transformation without transforming the conference, right? So we felt, okay, actually, we feel an obligation to internationalize this format, so we are looking for partners who want to do this with us. And also, I mean, this conference works really great as a co-creative format, and we came to the conclusion when we did the preparation for this year's conference that we would like to co-create the format as a whole with our international network of partners, which would be really great. And thirdly, I think we also have an obligation to really deepen and strengthen the network that is building around Innocracy for 3 years now. And I know there are so many networks already, so most of you probably rolling their eyes, you know, how can I fit that into my schedule? And yet, I think I have to overcome this hesitancy because so many, especially of the session hosts and speakers, really asked us to solidify this and to build a structure that really holds this network and the dynamic we're creating so that we can do something better and something which is more systemic when it comes to the outcomes this creates. So this is what we're aiming for. Let's see if we get to it, but this is really the ambition we have.
Okay, well, as I just said, we have a little announcement to make. Maybe it's too much weight on it. Well, however, Hanno and me, we spent some time together, and we've been wondering how we can actually contribute. Why are you laughing?
Mary.
Right. We spent the time discussing how we can actually contribute, the overall question of today, right? How we can contribute to a transformation of liberal democracy. And here's what came out of it. We decided to go into a multi-year process from 2020 on. And within this process, we would like to do several dialogues with citizens from all different regions on fundamental questions of democracy today and tomorrow. Additionally, or parallel to that, we would like to initiate talks with experts from various backgrounds on the question of what from our democratic framework shall be changed, shall be preserved, and what can be dismissed. We want, and that's very important, to have these formats and those talks openly. They shall not be a scientific, exclusive back office process, but instead open, public, maybe via podcasts, maybe live. But it's very important to us to make it as a process which is encouraging people to think out loud about where we want to go, who we want to be, and to develop a vision together. We believe that the work about visions and the transformative shifts of democracy is a strategic work. And we hope that this thing we want to initiate, this process we want to initiate, will bring us or will take us to answers on what we share on visions of democracy and where we can find and indicate separating views. So this is just a little bit of a teaser of what we decide to do from 2020 on. And in case you're interested and you want to know more, then just sign into our newsletter and you will be updated by the end of this year. So far, so good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I want to extend the thank yous, obviously, to all of you for coming today, for taking the time, for actively participating and making this conference what it is and what it was today. I want to thank the institutions who helped finance this conference, which is a super important contribution. First and foremost, the Federal Ministry for Family Affairs. They funded this conference for 3 years now, and I really want to thank them for it. Also, Claudia, I want to thank again the Alfred Helsen Society for partnering up with you the second year in a row. That was a huge honor for us as well. As we said, we have a vast network of international partner organizations who are partners in crime, partners in spirit. It's great to work with you, and we're really looking forward to intensifying and deepening the relationship we have. And also, obviously, I want to thank all the session hosts and speakers of this day. It's great that you contributed and that you invested time and energy. Thanks so much for that. And then last but not least, I want to thank the amazing team that made this conference possible, with days and days and sometimes, I know, evenings of work, especially Paul. Paul, where are you? Where? There. Paul, thank you. It was amazing to work with you. And then there's Maxine. Are you in the room? She will be. Okay. I want to thank Maxine. Tanya, you're there? Yeah, I want to thank you as well. It was great to work with you. And then we have Johannes and the rest of the team. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a huge privilege to work with all of you guys, and it makes our life better. It's really great.